control must be given enough attention to. And in the sales multiplication, the internet-based or internet sales has increased, and the decoration companies have begun to sell these things. The commercial hotels, the villas have customized needs for decoration, hence more sales in these channels. And also, the IT technology or ICT is being used in our industry. You know that in our whole industry, in the past, it used to be very developed, like the personnel, the equipment are just very amazing in the past. But in the future, our IT or ICT is still not much used. So from the raw material manufacturing device, the quality, QC/QA, storage, installation, after services, we must have digital-based management. That is how we can improve the quality, improve the efficiency, and to standardize the growth of each company's manufacturing practice and to avoid fake products. I hope that every wall panel and floor panel must have a code. That is something we want to have, because we hope that the code will be looking like an ID of a person. And for consumers, they can just log on to our industry's official website, enter the code, and they can know if the product is safe, it's real, and this kind of environment for tracing is really important. And also the smart manufacturing is also important for the floor. The smart making or smart manufacturing is still remains to be developed in the making of the floors and the walls. And people didn't really use smart devices. People use and you can use robots to do the packaging instead of asking people to do the packaging. Right? You can use smart manufacturing. You can use it when it's really necessary. And also digital management or digital operation is going to be able to facilitate the follow-up of market. You must know which market favors which product category, and that is how we can provide precision services and very good customization. That is really where the digitalization or the ICT is something that is really needing our attention, because they can really help contribute. And how about the green product authentication? This is a standard is made by us, and we have the first standards, the national standards for green products. You may know it. It's called China Green Product. And how about a new product? We also need to pay attention to. First is that whether it was the wall panel or the floor panel, you must pay attention to the appearances. Yes, the panels must look good. Our consumer wants to have a beautiful house. They want to make sure that their house can look good, the walls, the floors. So whether viewed from any angle, the floors and all the panels must look good. Appearance is good. It's important, because that is something that kind of every Chinese people wants to have, the looks, the appearance of the floor. So good design, a beautiful design is really needed, and also the size, for instance, should also be diversified. We should have a very big scale of the panel. We should have also the super small, panels. That's the second question. And third is the second decoration, especially people, the millennial generation, the young people that give marketers headaches. These people have the economic capacity and a new cultural capacity, as well as the new consumer behaviors. So we just think about how we can satisfy their consumer needs. That is something that is you should study. The hotels, the senior homes, the schools, the office buildings, also use the floors, right? And these places floors should also be something you should pay attention to. And the coffee houses, the relaxation sites, I believe, are also the places where the water-based panels will be coming in very handy. The water-resistant wood floors are also places, one of the places that need innovation. The wood floors should also be able to withstand a lot of tests and elements. And of course, we haven't really solved the question. I suggest that we should solve this issue of water resistance. And also, we have you think about the high-density fiber board or high HDF. We should have this kind of things. And because they are beautiful, they have high density, they have also the fancy veneer, right? This kind of composite floor is really something we need. The fancy veneer or wear-resistant papers and SPC composite floors are also really needed. And also fire retardant, fire retardation is really important. Fire retardation or retarding is more and more given and stress. We have very special attentions or guidelines from the police department of China that the public areas must have floors that are totally fire retardant. It will be given more and more attention to. I mean the fire retardations. We have PP membrane, we have the PP film or membrane, we have the EB curing film, we have the PV membrane. These kind of films are really going to be useful in fire retardation. And as HP and wear resistant HPL or HDF plywood will be really needed because these are the new trends. Because the HDL are very good in fighting shock. That is, even if your hand are very hard metallic ball onto the floor will not fracture. And also the electro thermostat board or panel. And also the GWI or ground wall integration. That's really important. It's a new thing. I just talked to Jianjun saying that in March 2017 when I giving a speech, I talked about something. Last year I talked for 6 minutes, and at the exhibition we see that thing happening. That is the result of GWI, the ground wall integration. I want to say again that GWI is really something important for the transition to the service-based manufacturing, not just manufacturing, but service-based manufacturing. And for panel makers, I believe that you need to consider the transition to service orientation. The service is something that is really making the future consumers fulfilled. If you lose this satisfaction, you are going to lose a lot of market. So this is something that you must pay attention to, the GWI and the service orientation for the manufacturing. We have operational changes and every change that can really break out of the traditional patterns. The GWI is something that is really needed. I believe that with this target, in the past we can do 1 billion yuan. In future, if you do the service-based manufacturing, you can do 3 billion even. Yeah, that's possible. So this integration, we say, is something we should achieve. Whether it was whether it was a wall or the floor, we should also have integrated solutions for the design, for the product, for the services, for the covering. We must have the good product. We must have very good product and solutions. We must have an all-in-one services. It's not just the purchase or the delivery, but also the dispatching and the services and the covering, everything. So we're talking about integration. Yeah, everything should be integrated. This is the WGI. This is the spirit of WGI. And when we think in this way, we'll be knowing that this can happen. And with this with these integrations, the per order value of a company can really increase. Our added value will increase. Our overall service and the brand will increase. Just everything good will increase. And so far, the floors have a lot of products. We have very good standards. Our after sales have also guidelines. How about the walls? We have the wooden walls. We have the inorganic walls. We have the PVC walls. We have all kinds of walls. The walls and the wall panels and the floor panels have kind of the same material. So whatever you can put on the floor, you can put it on the wall in terms of material. So it's very clear. You must follow the standards. So that's why we say we have the floors have also standards. They are made by me. I did the floors wall standards in 2005. The second version came out in 2017 for the wall panels. So we hope that we will definitely improve the guidelines and standards for the wall panels, and we will look at a concerted approach to perfect the standardization system for the walls, and also we make sure that the standardization system for the wall panel and also the WGI panels will be better. Our wood will be used both in the wall and also in the floor. So these are things that we need to improve in the future. Last but not least, I'd like to end by saying that the WGI will definitely fuel the growth of wall panels. And last but not least, I'd like to wish this meeting a huge success. And also, I hope that our WGI will open up a new chapter of the floor industry. Thank you, Mr. Liu, for your speech. And just now, Mr. Li offers us very good speeches. He talked about the 3 news, and he summarized the things that our practitioners in the industry should pay attention to, and also stressed the WGI. And he's saying that the WGI means that we should not just be a maker, but also be a service provider plus maker, which means that you must change some of business modes and the operational mode. This is not something you can just achieve overnight. So how we can guide our practice and how we can make sure that there's win results both for the makers, sellers, and the buyers. So let's welcome Mr. Zhao Qun to tell us about the guidelines 2020 version for the WGI. Let's welcome Mr. Lin. Okay, dear leaders and dear people from the same industry, and also those people who are still on the internet. One channel, we have 2 channels. One channel has 2,000 people, and the other channel has 10,000 people. Amazing. Good afternoon, I should say, from China, and hello from China. And here, in this morning, at the press conference, everyone was involved, it was participated, and Mr. Liu talked about a topic that is WGI, and he introduced everything. We should say that Mr. Liu has talked about the history. So actually beginning from last year, mainly in this year, we have 13 companies that have made the responses to our moves to integrate the wall and ground or to achieve WGI. And so our future manufacturers will not be just a manufacturer but also a service provider. This is something that we achieve thanks to our decade-long efforts. So that's really good news. And we have thought very deeply about this before pulling your strengths and your wisdoms to pull things ahead in the right direction. So this is something I want to talk to you about. According to the plan, every year there will be a guideline to the WGI, wall ground integration. This is 2020 version, and afterwards, in 2021, for instance, or 2022, we look at our arrangement and come up with more results to be published in the renewal version of this guidelines for constructing and customizing the WGI. So this is something truly important. This is the preliminary results coming from our joint efforts. So this is a joint result, which is preliminary one and open to future annual, modifications. So I want to say two things before I begin. This work of standardization of guidelines writing is much related to our today's topic. In the past, we will call the conference in another way. This year, we had the conference name extended by adding the name, which is the first WGI conference. So the WGI is really about services, and this is the change we are talking about. And also, we have a logo here. I want to do something. That is, when we want to do something, we must have a sign. I will talk to you about this F. This is called floor. F means floor. W means this is a W rotated by 45 degrees. This will come together as like E. So when they put together, it's like a one. It means one in Chinese, one, not E. Right? So let me give you some perspectives. This is the fivefold of my content. Firstly, is what is the definition of WGI customization? In past 3 years, we've been thinking very hard about this concept of WGI ground integration. And I feel that what we are doing these days are much like the things that whole China is thinking about. The service-based manufacturing. We are definitely doing the service-based manufacturing, not just manufacturing. So we are looking at the whole system, and we have got a lot of feedback in the past 3 years. So we are looking at the customer needs as the first thing we needed to prioritize. In the past, we must provide service plus customer making. In the past, we provided the flooring and the products. In the future, we will be providing the whole product integration and also the wall product integration. And also we want to provide integrated solutions to the customers. So this is about putting customers in the first place and the things we should have in mind. So the floor is a surface. The floor and the wall is a space. So 2 dimension towards 3 dimension. So we're talking about a space customization instead of floor, which is 2-dimensional customization. And a lot of products are really a whole all-in-one solution. It's very efficient. In the past, we're talking about device or woodwork making. Now, in the past, it took a lot of weeks and months. In the future, it will be just a few days for the customization to happen. Okay, that's good news. So let's take a look at this customization. So from the living room, the kitchen, the restroom, and the door area. This is really the definition we should have in mind. We must involve all the grounds. We also can also think about the porcelain, other products other than the floors. I mean the ceramic tiles. So we have this kind of wave-guided lines coming from the ceramic tiles or tiles. This is really something amazing. So and also on the wall, on the staircases, we have all kinds of customization features. We must technically and service oriented provide solutions. And next, we have analyzed the customer-centric solutions. Customers meet all kinds of questions. All the people know it, all the entrepreneurs know it. I'll give you several examples. First is design. The design and the actual doing is always disconnected. And the product and the service are disconnected. Nowadays, these are the pain points. And those who work in the construction material or those who don't have the issue. That is, they have more and more budget and less. So decoration is or furnishing is always a regrettable art. How can we make the regrettable art into a regret-free art? So how about the ground wall material? A lot of consumers ask me, should I use plywood or wood, plywood floor or wooden floor or laminated floor? Which should I use? I should say that we have a lot of products and materials, and like the ceramic tile should also be connected to the wood, and also the connection between the wall and floor. Quality and the services do not have the standardized caliber. This is very challenging to consumers, and they have a lot of questions, and then the consumers demand to be solved. And also, the consumers these days are different from consumers a decade or 2 decades ago. Nowadays, the consumers need customized solutions, especially millennial generations. And also, the consumer methods are also changing very fast. We may get used to the new modes of consuming. That is how we can move ourselves towards or closer to the consumers instead of the other way around. And also, by looking at our report, and we found that it's not just the government proposal or the work we're doing. We find that the new developmental mode or concept is really needed, which means we must have the right one, which is where the 4 angles are pointing in this slide, which is a service-oriented manufacturing. And also, when we try to do some trials on the terminal or the end consumers, we must know those services. So, after so many months of retrospection of what we have done, we believe that we should go towards the service-based manufacturing. And next, let's take a look at. Next part. So we have also look at the transformation. Let's take a look at the background first. What is the past? So in the past, we are very honored, we are very great. In the past, we provide the brand, famous brand flooring solutions, and also used to provide franchise store services. About 15 years ago, our flooring material have very good business modes, which are covered by other industry. I believe that used to be a leading position. So in the past 1 decade or so, we have done a lot of work and trials in a lot of aspects, especially in the big furnishing. We have a lot of solutions. So compare with now we have the customized furnishing. We are kind of keeping pace. So we are 2D design experts or 2D decoration experts. But aside from the ground, we should think about not just the floors or the ground, but also the walls. I mean, we have a lot of surfaces, 2D faces, not just the floor, right? So yeah, we need to do a lot of things. So, for instance, the WGI. So we have we should do both ends of the smiling curve. So in the past, we just have one product, but now we have a lot of products, and that is something that is much needed. And we need to adjust from time to time, and during this process, we need to integrate from time to time. We need to integrate the information integrators, industrial sectors to support these transformations. Also, we need to innovate the product. For instance, by providing the all-in-one solutions, the flooring, the covering, and also we are being very smart and IT-based, and eventually we'll come up with good data. So we must make sure our data are interconnected, and so the human machine should also be connected. Human to human should also have some interaction with each other. That is how we can provide very integrated solutions. So these are the things I want to talk about the new business modes of the flooring industry. How about the pathways? So it's not a whole picture that I have on the slide, but the main is just like the one I want to propose is the concept. The concept is the first thing that is hard to change in people. And secondly, we should integrate more of the industrial chain. And there's intra-hospital and inter-hospital coordination and inter-category integration. And also for customers, we must study them. We must know what they need. And also, first, suppose you must provide WGI solutions. The cost is going to be high. So with all kinds of innovation, we can reduce the cost. And also, now we need a lot of solutions. In the past, the other industries, other companies may go from a maker to a software provider. So we need a lot of service orientation and service capacity building. And also, these innovations always need a change of talent arrangement as well as our people's concepts, and as well as the practitioners' concepts. So firstly, we need to innovate the marketing approach. The marketing approach should also be experiential instead of just visual. And people must be able to feel it, right? And that is a way to make sure that the consumers will be interested and be well informed about our business modes and service solutions. And also, it also innovate in design. The core of design innovation is that we should modularize the things we have now from the design, and make sure that they can be very well presented before the consumers in a very graphic way. So in design innovation, I think it's really about modularization. Give people a model, right? And also have a good manufacturing system is also needed. We are gonna need to maintain our edges. We should also change the flexibility of manufacturing. One company cannot do it all. You must have an ecosystem. There's makers, there's flexible manufacturing, there's cloud-based service providers, there's also the smart management system. So, I mean, it's really a service-based manufacturing system we're talking about. And also, we need to innovate the fourth thing, which is a team. And we must make sure there was integration between the advanced manufacturing company and also the advanced service provider. We must have the knowledge, the people, the team, the system betterment to provide very integrated solutions to our customers. And I believe that this is how the system should look like. So firstly, we should have a design and R&D system. And we also have the manufacturing system, which should be very smart. And also we should have innovative service system. Also we should have the guidelines, the sorts, the standards. These are the and also service design service system. Also we should have the industrial support system to make sure we can really provide a very high quality all-in-one solutions to customers. And Mr. Liu in this morning offered a speech to the public on the promotion or the transformation of manufacturers to service-based manufacturers. We have listed the general requirements, general objectives, and the key missions. So you can look at the pamphlets right in the bag we give you. This is the alpha, I should say alpha version, that we have beta, omega, beta 1 version, right? Okay, you can search the internet for retrieving the guidelines. And the guidelines will be published and made available to the public as soon as possible. And how about the stages and objectives throughout different stages? We say we by 2023, about in 3 years or 2 to 3 years, we should have some pilot companies. And by 2025, we should have 20 pilot companies, which means some of the companies will be leading the transformation of WGI. More companies will follow suit and set up an ecosystem. Okay. In science, in talent, in policy support, in demo, in guidances, we should have try to get more and more support as possible. And also, I believe that within 3 to 5 years, what we can achieve is that with our services, we can win the heart of consumers, mainly in 2 ways. One is that for new houses, this is what we think. If it's housing, we can finish the basic furnishing, and within 2 or 3 years, the top, the wall, and the floor will be done by us. So maybe 2 or 3 to 5 days, we can finish the woodwork for the cabinets, for the flooring, the wall, right? Everything is finished within 7 days. The delivery will be fast. You can get what you see. What you see is what you get. It's really high quality, and it's very good services, right? It's fast and very service oriented. And secondly, we believe that the redecoration of the old houses is also needed. When Mr. Liu talked about WGI in 2017, we talked about the redecoration, but we didn't put it in the framework of our pamphlet. But I believe that from 2015 to 16, other industries are doing this kind of redecoration. And a few days ago at the airport, when I got off the plane, there is a new industry doing the advertising. It's called micro furnishing, which is not in our industry. Also, so if the W&G are becoming part, the 7 days for which is length of a general vacation can really bring about the changes in the house. Because it just takes 7 days to finish the finishing or micro furnishing. We still have a lot of opportunities in micro furnishing. So these are things that need your attention and coordination. Our project has spearheaded by several universities and companies that I have listed here. And I believe that within 3 to 5 years will be different with our concerted effort, with our passionate implementation. There will be very good results. Let's work together. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tang. Thank you, Ms. Tang, for your very good speech. Ms. Tang talked to us about WGI customization. It's a strategic meeting, possible pain points, and also the practical value of WGI. Next, let's listen to the entrepreneur's voice. Let's welcome Mr. Chen Jianjun, who is the chairman of the Power Decker company. Let's welcome him to talk us about the development trend of membrane materials and ground wall integration, or GWI. Dear leaders, dear guests, and also media friends, good afternoon. Today, the topic of this summit is about the WGI or GWI. So actually, in Power Decker, we have been working in this research for a long time. First is the ground integration, or GI. We have a new BU for that, for GI. So we have the new business modes needs before we make a new escalation. It's called a wall ceiling integration, or WCI. Now today I talk about the new flooring materials and the role of the new flooring in the WGI or GWI. So first is the market trend and structural change of the new flooring, as well as the wall material market. So let's talk about the PVC export. We have 70% exported to US, and we have 20% and 10% to Europe, Australia, and others. The PVC sheets has a lot of sales numbers. For SPC accounted for 140 million square meters, and the BLBT has 60 million square meters, and WPC has 100,000 square kilometers, 100 million square meters. US flooring market is very big. PVC accounted for PVC coiled sheet accounted for 7%. PVC sheet material accounted for 50%. So we know that LVT accounted for 50%, SPC plus WPC accounted for 70%, and SPC is 90% used in the civil scenario. So now take a look at the domestic floor material, and we have increased. We have the wood floor increased by 0.6%, and flexible material increased by 15%, especially SPC increased by a very large margin. And also take a look at we have a lot of issues with the flooring material, and the standards are not so good. The products are very messed up. Inconsistency. The study is that we have all kinds of products. There's no uniform solutions, plans, programs, or guidelines. And for Power Decker, it is very amazing, and it takes up a lot of proportion in schools, in public buildings, and offices. It's a very competitive market. In other commercial areas, we will try to build up more markets to cope with the challenges opportunities coming from WGI. Next, second part, I will talk about the market opportunity in China for the new flooring material. First is the public opportunities, like the educational area, the hospitals, the office buildings, retail institutions, and how about the industrialization, our cooperation with the real estate developers, decorating companies. And third is the opportunities for our industry coming from the refurnishing. So China issued a lot of policies to modify or to renew or renovate the older communities, and also we need to expand the wooden floor market for the commercial scenarios, like the libraries, the gymnasiums, and the stadiums, commercial retail scenarios. And how about the practice and explorations from Power Decker? And we have set up a commercial flooring department just in 2017 in charge of the domestic space and well-furnished buildings and commercial floors. These are places we focus on, and we try to provide the WGI solutions. And now, as a Power Decker, we have a very good commercial marketing system, and we have a lot of coverage in the office building, senior house spaces, and the commercial spaces. And we have used the good channels of Power Decker. We have the flexible space, and we have also the WGI solutions in the domestic settings, which is popularized in China. In big clients, we have worked with Sino-Ocean Group and Vanke and all and great just real estate developers. We have worked with them for the SPC. So now the home decoration is not just about a wooden floor or the ceramic tiles for the flooring, but more combinations. We have the floor need in the balcony, in the kitchen, in the dining wall and the living room. And we have done a lot of explorations to make sure there was a consistency or integration in the product, in design and the plan. And also, our solutions or WGI solutions is driven by customer needs. We look at the aesthetic features and the functional need of the space. We measure, design, material selection, and install the WGI solutions. Our WGI solution at Power Decker seeks to marry design to functions, and by special techniques, we have connected the materials of different types and size. And when each one material is given the individuality, and we can satisfy the functional needs of different flooring material, we provide a wide range of flooring products, and I try to provide all-in-one product solutions for flooring in the domestic setting, office building, medical areas, and etc. These are the cases. These are pictures. And also, our products are used in these places in CCG, in Harrow School, the LDH, right? We use them a lot. They are used in Shanghai CCG, Haikou Harrow School, and Yantan's Ludong Hospital. So we have this technology plus service, and we have the smart manufacturing. We have the cross industrial integration. We have innovation empowerment. We have a seamless connection. It's really coming from the marriage between technology and services. Number 4, I want to talk about the contribution of demand and supply for GWI. Now, we know GWI is really in the providing side, and different companies manufacture different types. So how can make it itself into an industry? So we talk about the integration in design, plan, logistics, and installation. So we should have a very well understood consensus on the consumer side on the WGI or GWI. And the last, I want to end by sending out a wish, that is, by working with the new parties and in a new environment, we can forge a new path ahead and come up with good results and make our due contribution. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for your great speech. Mr. Chen talked to us about the decker, the nature deckers view on the WGI and their practices. And also, he talked about, he said that about WGI or GWI, the supply side is pushing, and the demand side still need to have more awareness. Now let's welcome Nature Home, and let's welcome Mr. Shou Xuebing, the CEO and Chairman of the Board of Nature Home. Let's welcome Mr. Shou Xuebing. Okay. I see that this is the 23rd. Though I'm a frequent visitor. So about 30 years ago, 23 years ago, I started visiting this conference. I love this thing, GW integration in Chinese called 一体化. And why did I feel that we want to talk about the floor every time we come here? I say that floor is something we talk about every day, but I found that when you mention the flooring, I'm very fond of it, and we talk about the service. That is the tricky part. Service is a very abstract concept, but our industry, in specific terms, is 30% about product, 70% about services, which is a truth here, right? So today I can only say in a very dispersed fashion, we have not succeeded yet in WGI. And in past, we can do it in one person, and we have to pay a tuition fee. We pay a lot of tuition. That is, we have learned a lot of lessons, and we believe that we can sell about 1 billion RMB yuan this year. We have the wooden door about 0.7 billion or 0.8 billion. That's good because we have really worked out of the floor. But you are a floor people, right? So I hope that we can expand the scenario better. Do you agree, right? Yeah, yes, your applause says yes to my opinion. Let's make this industry bigger. The first thing I want to talk about is that our industry sticks to three sects. First is the customer's provider. Actually, I believe that the customer these days, so like Tmall or Jingdong, they are all customer providers like Tubatu. There are a lot of them. They are the service providers. Our dealers are also service providers. Let me just say that customer providers, they have they have made a lot of contributions. The home decoration is really the lion's share they take. So in the past, we have the 20%. Now they have 40% instead of 20 to 30%. When they grow, we become the middle product or intermediate product. The logic behind being a middle product maker is the price. So I first say the service provider. The first thing is that each and every one of you is becoming a product manufacturer, right? You are already a product manufacturer. You have the. So I've looked at the exhibition halls. I'm very glad to see these things. In the past, we have the single product, and now it is big. The second I want to talk about is service provider. This is really the biggest headache. So you started with the ground zero, then you go to space, supply chain, to installation. The whole chain is a very big, long one. It's so big and so long that you cannot have one company that is successful. I believe that in the past, when I look at the McKinsey's report, McKinsey said that they cannot do it. Your industry is too complicated. They said that the chain is so long in the industry. Basically, whatever you do in terms of service provision, still it's difficult. I believe you can study these things. So today I'm going to talk about So we are now as a product provider. We make floors. We also make wooden doors, the cabinets. So we have grown from one product to many products. But so far, we cannot call ourselves a service provider. We don't know how to call ourselves or how to make ourselves into service providers. So we have given it to outsourced to the dealers. We work with them, and even decorating companies, we work with them. The three industrial chains are there. To be frank, it's not just in our flooring industry, every industry should come to think about this perspective, and that's why we say that you must have a lot. You must look at. You must work with all kinds of industries. And some companies may have 6 channels, or some companies have 8 channels. The first multi-channel is not something we should study. It's about how to do the multi-channel, not the definition. So we started with one product. Now we should go to the multi-product. How should we do it? How should we shift it? What worries me most is that our future dealers, or dealers in the future, whether they can survive on single products, their sales volume may not be enough. These concerns are one of the big changes. And also, if they don't do big furniture, they want to provide. They only do standardized products. And you must. They tell the consumers that they must start with design if they want to have cabinets. So we believe that you must reform. Otherwise, I believe that every one of you may have a high chance of becoming a mid manufacturer, and we can only sit here, not everywhere. So we think about how can we get out of the. We cannot stop ourselves from being a mid maker. So we talk about WNG, right? WNG or WGI is not a big step. And personally, I think that we should think about the design. It's not about product selling anymore. It's about design these days. These are things you should think about. So today we start this one, and in 23 years, we have this breakthrough. But it's not that big a breakthrough. You should, in the future, think about how we can sell this product very well and serve the integration of the WG and a lot of other things. Because in the future, it's about solving the space design needs of consumers. As a product provider, we should think about taking a step forward. So we are all kinds of working together and against each other. The customer provider, service provider, and product provider. What should we do? One company is one category is doing very well. It's called 商品宅配. It has a very big customer provider. It has very big traffic. It's also a service product provider. It is also a service provider. It's a triple provider, but that is very rare. So let's look at Sophia. It is a product provider. Its dealers is service providers. So in all, it's about connecting these things into one, not just instead of being one provider. So to make it happen, to make an all-in-one solution, we have to do something. In the past, we talk about 4 homes, and some also say 6 homes. I don't know how many homes, home textile, home furnishing, I don't care. I believe that we need to do each and every one of them. And we should make sure they are all in one station. So let's go back to our topic. We go from the G to W, and it's a big step for G to GW, ground and wall. So the second thing is really the topic of a fully furnished house. The future consumers, I believe, will be very interested in a fully furnished house, right? And so what did we do? Whether it was a standardized solution or we used a customized solution. I believe that in 2015, I invested in a company called iConjian. And the CEO is Mr. Chen Ren, who is very progressive. And after 5 years have passed. But I find that a lot of non-standardized products cannot be scaled up. The standardized products are really the best this year. But by the end of this year, things are not so good. So I can see that he is still having some board battle with consumers. So that is when people come to buy your suite, they use your products, but not all their products. So how to solve this question? That is the all-in-one fast decoration solution. So how we can go from the G to WG to fully furnished and also to the all-in-one station fast furnished decoration. So we hope that we can simplify the act of decoration. We are kind of conflicted in everything we do. You can be a big player, the biggest player in the flooring solution provider. If you want to do bigger furniture or you want to cross over to the ground ceiling or GCI, it will be difficult. People still tell me the GW is something we do. Why do you do GW? Why don't you do G? Why don't you do the G integration or GWI? It's like we are learning from Moho in USA. Why don't you make yourself into the biggest service provider or product provider? So we say that our study, which is something that is not right or wrong. It's all about being suitable or not, which should go this or that direction. But either way, I believe that our industrial association has made this happen. The GWI, you must make it happen for each of you. And we must double or triple the market size of GWI. So the association or the alliance of GWI should think about grabbing back the pieces we own. We must grab all back the pieces. There are so many companies trying to grab a piece. The wooden gate and cabinet makers are also keep competing. I don't know who will help, but I believe that we should work hard and even harder to get these things back to our side and make more money. And these are all about the pricing space. And the core is always that what I want to say is that in the past, China's floor industry was all about a product, but in the future, the China's floor industry should be about the services. Service is difficult. Service has no standards. So how can we make sure that there were standardized guidelines for services? What is the value chain? Where did it start? Where did it end? Right? We believe that service, being the king, has already come. So all in one, we believe that a success of a product is 70% about the product, and 30% of the products, and 70% of the services. And about the services, we must start the service by the design. So we should go from product to service. So that is the end of my speech.